Welcome to Dolly into Meaning, camera moves that move you. Today we're going over the camera moves of Top Gun and how they add to the story. Tom Cruise plays great pilot Maverick, who flies reckless and dangerous maneuvers, stunts, goes against authority, and has an unwillingness to work as a team.
With a history of high-speed passes over 5 air-controlled towers.
I heard that about you. You like to work alone. That's because every time you go up in the air, you're unsafe.
He's an outside-of-the-box thinker. After all, he is called Maverick. But part of this is an established character flaw. In fact, for the first 45 minutes of the movie, seeds are planted telling the audience why. Why is Maverick trying to prove he's the best in this way? Why does he feel the need to be reckless or go against authority?
And let's not bullshit, Maverick. Your family name ain't the best in the Navy. You need to be doing it better and cleaner than the other guy. Now, what is it with you?
Maverick. Flew with his old man.
It all has to do with his father, but the audience doesn't know this for sure. We don't have an internal dialogue of what he's thinking, like in books. The audience needs something special. In this case, it's 2 dolly shots plus Charlie, the romantic interest, telling us what the 2 dolly shots have shown us. For dolly shots, it's not show, don't tell, but show and then tell. The first dolly shot starts on an unconventional 2-shot. Charlie is laying down in the background while Tom Cruise stands leaning against the wall. We have a deep depth of field, meaning both the background and foreground are in focus at the same time. There is a slow start of movement.
My folks loved it. Never heard this in years.
Just before Maverick talks about his parents for the first time.
My mother used to.
It starts before the motivation for the move, so it will already be in motion when he talks. The dolly is on a curved piece of track as the 2-shot pushes into a single close-up on Maverick talking about his mom. This moment has to do with the internal conflict and the tension of a question. What happened to his mother?
She died shortly after.
The tension of vulnerability was also supported by the fact that the camera isn't locked down. It's shaking a little, almost as if it's floating. The camera stops also, and then he reveals his mother died. This personal revelation was explained to the woman he's dating to show the budding of emotional intimacy between the characters. We stop at the tension's climax, and then we cut after the revelation.
She died shortly after him.
What happened to your father?
Following breaking the arc of the moment is Charlie's question. What happened to your father? We are finally going to get a payoff to this same question, which has been set up before. The second shot is a straight dolly in. Again, we start on a static 2-shot, and then we push into an intimate 1-shot, appropriate for the conversation with his romantic interest. This is why we started on the 2-shot, but also emphasizing the personal nature of what he is talking about. And it starts moving on a specific dialogue.
Security clearance, you'd know more about him than I do.
Well, I didn't get that far.
The dolly move ends on him stating his belief that his father didn't make a mistake.
The stink of it was, he screwed up. No way. My old man was a great fighter pilot.
In the calm of a now intimate static close, the question for another emotional need is established, needing to prove to the world it wasn't his father's fault. That's what Maverick's ironic reckless flying is about. We have an answer, and yet Maverick doesn't have closure against those feelings. He is still going through his global character arc, we just know more. It isn't until after we have the new struggle, Goose's death, that we get some food for resolution for this inner conflict, this time without a camera move.
You made a bad choice.
We learn Maverick made a mistake. The tension is external and for the audience. Charlie gives her response.
Well, that's a big gamble with a $30 million plane, Lieutenant.
Gutsiest move I ever saw.
Although everyone is saying Maverick made a mistake, this additional positive comment is both a resolution and an answer to the audience question, did he really make a mistake? And the instigation to the next conflict, Maverick being upset Charlie didn't say something similar. Notice the music, it's the romantic theme for their relationship. Now what's interesting here is the camera move isn't a dolly, it's a zoom, meaning the camera isn't moving, but the focal length of the lens is. The music continues after the shot, continuing the tension. Is that why it's a zoom over a dolly in? Maybe there wasn't enough space in the room for a huge dolly track. Or maybe it's the fact that the human eye can't naturally zoom in, so this shot adds an uncomfortable, unnatural feeling to the moment, which is similar to what Maverick is feeling. Anyway, we get the same emotional effect. The rising tension gives way to a decision, this time made silently and off camera, and then followed by him leaving. Maverick has lost his friend Goose. He's collected his things and brings them to Goose's widow. He's doing his duty. He doesn't look emotional, but the music is telling us otherwise. He stops at the door and pauses. We know this is affecting him. The camera on a diagonal dolly approaches him and crosses him as Maverick turns towards us. The blocking is crucial. He's under intense emotional tension. It's not a straight-on dolly move on Maverick because there is no release to this tension, him losing his friend. There is nothing in the music that releases this tension, nothing in the cut either. The dolly move emphasizes the struggle, not the resolution of him finally breaking down, which he doesn't. He just struggles acutely for a moment. This struggle is the major arc of the third act. A mini arc is established after Goose dies. Was this Maverick's fault? In establishing Maverick as a possibly dangerous pilot, in the service of the major character arc of the film, the audience and Maverick are going to wonder if this is his fault. This doubt can't be ignored. It has to be addressed. These pair of shots are the resolution of this worry. We crane in from a wide to a medium shot.
Produced by the disruption of airflow into the starboard engine. This disruption
starting to focus on the court and its judges giving their verdict. It isn't an accident that when the judges say it wasn't Maverick's fault, it's the last moment we will see them.
There was no way.
They are no longer important. Maverick's reaction is as we swoop in to see him.
Therefore, the Board of Inquiry finds Lieutenant Pete Mitchell was not at fault in the accident of 29 July.
But the same music continues to the next camera movement, a dolly in. We don't get a camera movement pause for this resolution. We quickly go back to a dolly to continue to show Tom Cruise's struggle. The positive, energetic music is still there, but his expression gives away his struggling. There's a tension between the two things. There is a stop at the end of the dolly in. The period, the resolution of the camera movement doesn't rest on anything, but more struggling, more tension. This has really resolved nothing internally for Maverick. With the climax of the film soon approaching, the conflicts are packed closer together, even within a shot. This moment is pivotal to Maverick's character arc in becoming a better pilot. We've established and are reminded that he flies the way he does because of the mystery of how his dad died in combat. He's about to get his answer to this driving question in a tracking cowboy shot. The camera's following Maverick and Viper talking. We don't get to see a lot of emotion or much reaction because we aren't in a close-up. Even the camera movement is mostly utilitarian rather than emotional. By doing this shot, you condense many shots into one, simplifying the edit.
When the battle occurred over the wrong line on some map.
It's almost the exposition to this scene as we cut away from it to a close-up to what the scene is really about.
What's on your mind?
Maverick possibly quitting over Goose's death. Maverick learning this is important, but Goose's death has usurped in immediacy as the threat to Maverick's progression to being a pilot. In fact, Goose really drives Maverick's character growth in the third act as he remembers things he said. So now that's why no emphasis is placed on the character arc that is with Maverick at the beginning of the film. Next thing I'm going to do is open it up to the audience to give their thoughts on why the filmmaker decided to use a particular shot in the scene in the comments section. Give you, the audience, a chance to put on your thinking cap, break down the film beats and filmmakers' motivations. It helps if you've rented or bought the film, but give it a shot even if you haven't. Maverick has just had a conversation with Viper. He's got a decision to make. Now I think a trick to breaking down a shot yourself is to imagine yourself as the filmmaker and see what the other options there are to cover the moment. What those coverage options would have added or taken away.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Dolly into Meaning, camera moves that move you on the movie Top Gun.